we're saving 100 quid. Like that. Hey, how's it going? I hear you want to save a little bit of money. Well, in this video, I'm going to show you some simple tips about how you can monitor your spending so you can put a strategy in place to target your saving. I'm ready when you are. Put the kettle on. Hello, welcome to 20 Something. In this series, I give you tips, tricks, and life hacks to make your life more convenient, more affordable, and ultimately more enjoyable. So if you want to smash life together, then click the subscribe button. In this series of videos, I'm showing you through some simple tips into how you can put more money into your pocket on payday. If you haven't already, then check out the prequel to this video, which is all about targeted saving. A little saying goes around that you cannot save the dough if you are not in the know. If you haven't done so already, then I encourage you to download your banking app. The majority, if not all of banks now have an app which you can view onto your smartphone, and they're really good at obviously just making sure that you know what you're spending your money on, but then also analysing how you can save more money for next month. Now in this demonstration, I'm going to show you through how I monitor my spending using Microsoft Excel. There are loads of different softwares that you can use. You can even just use a bit of pen and paper. Now I've got a breakdown very similar to this for all of my spending, but for the purposes of this demonstration, I've just made up some figures and I've made up some colors and bits and bobs just to show you a demonstration how you can use this technique at home. What you need to do, I suggest that you do this at the end of every month because you don't want to not know about any spending patterns that you might have before it's too late. So you see here, I've just broken it down into January and February. You can use your own little brackets, but I've got stuff like how much money I spend on food, essentials, which can just be like toiletries or anything else. You've got the retail stuff, which is anything which you might spend on clothes or anything that you sort of spend out. Food out, so if you have food out or you grab a little snack along the way, if you have a coffee break at any point, then it's nice to sort of know that as well. Travel, that's pretty easy. I'm based in London, so obviously we have the Oyster cards and the contactless payments, but if you have a bus card or if you have an annual travel plan, then you might want to put that in as well. So once you've got your brackets, what you figure out to be your regular spends week on week and month on month, you then got to be really honest and make sure that you go through your bank statements and make sure that you're putting those into the right columns. If you cheat this in any way, you're only cheating yourself. So no one else is going to see this apart from you. So just be really, really honest about it and you will reap the rewards. So I've left a couple of these blank, but let's just say like for retail, I spend £25 on a shirt, I spend £15 on a round of drinks while I'm out, and I spend £6 on a couple of pairs of socks. In essentials, say that I need to buy some toiletries every month, and that's £2.50. So after you've put in all of your spending over last week or last month, whatever, you then want to summarize your spending. So let's just do it for golf, for instance. So the moment you put an equal sign into any kind of cell, Excel gets excited and it thinks that you're going to do some calculations. Once you click a cell that you want to do some maths in, put the equal sign in it, and then you can go over to the first cell that you want to start your calculation in. And if you click that cell and then press Control and then click the sum button on the top left and make sure that you select sum, select the first cell that you want to start calculating and then drag your mouse all the way down to the bottom cell that you want to calculate in that calculation. Press enter and it will automatically add up those two figures. Now what I like about this is, say if you missed one in your review of your spending, or say you were doing this sort of like in week 1 or week 2 and then you wanted to add some more weeks down the line, if I wanted to then add further amounts into this, it would automatically add up the amounts for me. I don't have to then sort of like select a cell, add up, okay, delete that, select a cell, select a cell, select a cell, add up, and so on. It's fluid. So once you sort of set up all the formulas, you can go back into it anytime and make sure that you've got it all correct. So when you've put in all of your figures, the most important thing to do is to make sure that the totals are all correct. So again, in this instance, I'm just going to put my little equal sign in there. I'm going to identify that it's a sum. I'm going to start at the top here, drag it all the way down and press enter to give me that sum. Similarly for this cell, click sum, drag it down for this total. And now I have some bases to work with. So you can see in this mock-up January month, I spent £860, whereas in the February month I spent £438.51. So there's quite a big difference there in my spending. Now the thing to sort of analyse straight away is that in my car little segment here, I've got a massive £430 expenditure. I put that in because I thought it's the beginning of the year, people often do car insurance at the beginning of the year, and that was just like a random car insurance figure, which I thought I could use as an example. Now what I want to do first of all is I want to add up the two totals and then divide them by the amount of months that I'm figuring out. So I would go over to this car tab, so 131 and 46 pence, and I would plus that by this car tab. Now in order to make sure that I can get an average for these two, I need Excel to add these up independently of each other. So put them in the brackets, just like your normal maths, not doing GCSE level here. And then to divide, we use the / key. And then because we're doing it between 2 months, we put in a number 2, press enter, and this is telling me that my average is £337.60. And we do that for almost everything. Come back to me in a moment and we'll reassess. So once you put in all your spending and you put in all your monthly averages and all that kind of stuff, now we can use Excel to give us targets for our saving. So look, I've taken some stuff out and I've put some stuff in, some more colors and stuff, just to make it a little bit clearer. But on this top line here now, you can see, again, just based on this hypothetical situation, how much money I'm spending on things every single month. Now, what you might want to do is, which I'm going to do for this one here, I'm not going to be doing car insurance every single month. So in order to have an impact on that figure, I need to take out this cell here. So in order to do that, I would go over to this car total here, and I would delete this sum, but I would click sum again, obviously, and I would select all of these tabs. Press enter, and it has an immediate impact on my average spending. I've also put some things in bold here. Again, these are just sort of made up, but you might want to put down like essential car costs. So say like you need to put petrol into your car every month, or you're always going to be putting tax into your car every single month. Then you can highlight these figures so that you know you can't get rid of them in any way. You've always got to like calculate that into your monthly spending. Once you've done this and you've got a breakdown of everything, I've got this thing up here in the top which isn't completed yet, but say that your rent and bills is a statutory spend every single month. You're always going to have to pay your rent, you're always going to have to pay your bills. So again, I've just made up a little figure here saying 475 and 120, which could equate to your bills. Then let's just make that a little bit easier on the eye and the mind to make that 600 quid. Now on this total month, this can be your total monthly expenditure. So we're going to do a very similar thing as to what we did on here, but we're going to use the total figure. Here this is suggesting that we are spending £600 on our rent and our bills every month, and we're also spending £574 and 5p on our total spending outside of just staying alive. And then if we want to get a total figure for that, then again we just add these two up. So we take our total monthly spend, add it onto our rent and bills, and we get this figure. Now we don't need to divide that by 2 because we've already got an average from our 2 sums previously. So that is it. So that is giving us in black and white that our monthly spending is just shy of £1,200 or £1,174 and 5p. So say I want to save pretty much £100. I can put targets in place to save a good bulk of money just by saving 10% of all of my expenditure. So how do I figure that out? How do I figure out how I'm going to make those cuts? Well, first of all, you need to figure out how much money you need to be spending on each of those categories in order to make your long-term savings. This time what we need to do is we need to find out what 1% is of our spending already and then times that by 90. So again, open bracket to start a formula, we're going to do this and we're going to divide that sum by 100, close bracket. Now this time it's the asterisk key to times totals, and we're going to times that by 90, press enter, and it's 111 pounds and 23 pence. So in order to just save 10% off of that particular figure, then we almost just need to knock off £10 off of that spending. So I'm going to do that now for all of them, and we'll come back later and we'll figure out how to put strategies in place. Once you've gone through all of your averages and figured out how much that total is at 90%, so taking 10% off each spend, you've then got to figure out where you can cut the fat on your spending. So for instance, this figure here, £8.55, is 90% of £9.50, but that is a statutory payment that I pay to the bank every month, so I can't save any money there. I'm gonna have to save that 10% elsewhere. So as you can see here on this hypothetical setup, I'm still spending well over £100 on golf. Now, obviously I know a little bit about the golf stuff, so I know that £84 of that is only going to be like a membership to a club, for instance, but you know, that 32 quid could be like a jumper I've bought, driving range stuff, or you know, XYZ. But I need to be able to save more money off of that total. So rather than saving only 10% on that total, say I want to do a really big cull and save 30%, so I need to find out what that 70% total is. And now it's just over £85, but that is only my membership. So maybe that's a little bit, you know, unrealistic. So again, we'll go back into that figure, and then we decide that we just want to make sure that we save 20% on that figure, which takes off just over 20 quid. And that's all it can be. And so 10% of £9.50 is not a lot. It's less than a quid in most cases. So it's just making sure that you find the right pockets of your spending to save money on, and then you'll take stress off of other areas of your life. Similarly, you might not be able to save this money on travel, but say if, like, you know, I'm in my 20s, I might be able to get a 16 to 25 rail card, and then that will take some money off of it. So yeah, I might be spending some money for the travel card, but then I'll be saving money in the long term. It's all those kind of strategies as well. Say on this food, let's just say again, I want to save a bit more money. Let's say 80%. In fact, let's try and get that down to under 100 quid, because nobody should be spending over 100 quid on food every month. So I'm saving 40% on my average food spend. And now we have knocked off, without almost doing anything, just taking a little bit of money off of my hobby and dropping the money off of my food total, we're saving 100 quid. Like that. Like, just by identifying where the fat of your spending is allows you to put in strategies, or to at least put in targets, and which is why that targeted saving comes into effect so easily. You can have immediate impacts on putting a cull on your spending to impact your saving. But it's just about being clever. So often when I speak to my friends or speak to my family, they just don't know how much money they spend. And there's all this jargon out there, which is, you know, you need to save money, you need to put it into this bank account, you need to get your interest, you need to do blah, 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 you need to save it for a house. I cannot tell you enough how much power you have in saving your own money. It's simple when you look at it with everything in front of you. I get that. And you might be watching this video thinking, well, that's really simple, there's nothing groundbreaking there. And maybe there isn't. But I recommend getting up an Excel spreadsheet or an equivalent, like I say, you can do it with a bit of pen and paper. Figure out how much money you spend in different categories within your life. Figure out how much each individual area of your life is costing you, and then see if you can save any money that way. If you found that tip useful, then like the video, and if you want tips, tricks and life hacks in the future, then please do subscribe to my channel. If you use this tip moving forward, then put in the comment section down below, how much money have you saved just by monitoring your spending? That's all from me, guys. I'll see you when I see you. Bye.